Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another turbo draft of the Strixhaven format in the Decathlon series of events. So without further ado, let's take a look at our pick one, pack one and see what we're going to do. So I feel like a Freak Flame Painter is just going to be the best card in this format, in this pack. Turbo drafts are the format where everything costs 5 generic mana less to cast, so the higher the generic mana in the cost is, the more of a cost reduction you're going to get. So a card like Dina is still just going to cost black-green, but a card like Tome Shredder is just going to cost 1 red. Inkling Summoning is just going to cost 2 hybrid white or black mana. Leyline Invocation is only going to cost a single green. However, you're not going to have a lot of lands out when you cast it if you're casting it turn 1. So I think Flame Painter just benefits the most from the cost reduction. Plus, if you ever manage to hit your opponent with it, you're going to be casting some really big stuff because you can cast the big Prismari spells for so cheap. You get to cast cards like Elemental Masterpiece for only 2 mana. So Freak Flame Painter is going to be my pick one, pack one for this draft. And now we have Introduction to Prophecy. This is one of the highest picks in the format for me, and I'm probably going to take it here. The reason being it's 0 mana to scry 2 and draw a card, and if you have a lot of Learn in your deck, then you basically have a ton of copies of this in your deck. So Introduction to Prophecy is just a really, really good card. That being said, there are other great cards in this pack. I think Negate is actually very powerful in this format. Some of the biggest plays in the format are instants and sorceries. Elemental Masterpiece is probably one of the most impactful commons during the game. I wouldn't say it's like the best one. The best one is definitely the 3 mana Mana Rock, Letter of Acceptance. 3 mana to add a mana of any color to your mana pool, and you can sacrifice it later on to draw a card. In this format, that's 0 mana for a Mana Rock, so you just play it in addition to your land and start jamming out a ton of spells really quickly. So that's like the best combat, but Elemental Masterpiece is very close to as good as that because 2 mana for 2 4/4s is absolutely absurd. So being able to counter stuff like that is really nice with Negate. So I think Negate's a pretty high pick for the format. And then Divide by 0 is probably really good too. It's only 1 mana to bounce something back to hand and also learn a lesson. So I like these cards quite a bit, these blue uncommons, but I think I'm still taking Introduction to Prophecy because it really can't be overstated how great it is to just 0 mana scry 2 draw a card. Such a big draw spell there for basically no cost. So here we are in pick 3, and things have really dried up. I don't think there's anything that is really absurd in this format. There's some good stuff, but nothing wild. There's like Professor of Zoomancy's a 1 mana 4/3 and a 1/1, which is pretty good. There's Curate, which is great in the spell style decks that would use a Freak Flame Painter because we get to mill something with this as well. To potentially cast it, and of course we could cast the Curate from our grave with Flame Painter. There's also a common Serpentine Curve that makes an XX fractal, where X is the number of instants and sorceries in your grave. Curate's really good in that kind of deck. And then there's also like Fractal Summoning, which is just 2 mana 5/5. That's the bare minimum, and it still scales up like it does normally, where you can make a 3 mana 6/6, 4 mana 7/7, so on and so forth. So a lot of stuff you can do off Fractal Summoning. As well, Eureka Moment's a really nice draw spell. 2 mana, draw 2, put a land into play. Pretty huge. So I think it's the blue-green cards here. Professor Zoomancy, Fractal Summoning, Eureka Moment, and Curate. And I do really like card draw in this format. So I'm kind of feeling Eureka Moment. A little awkward with a red card. It is a little awkward to go 3 colors because when all of your cards cost only 1 or 2 mana, you can't really afford to play too many tapped lands because you do get punished hard for not casting a spell almost every turn. And obviously without fast lands or without tapped lands, dual lands, stuff like that, you aren't really fixing your mana enough to consistently play 3-4 colors. So I don't know if I love just going into 3 colors right off the bat, but I really do like Eureka Moment, and I feel like it might be my favorite card in the pack. Curate and Fractal Summoning a close second, Professor Zoomancy being the third. I'll take the Eureka Moment here. Take the gold card early. And wow, Introduction to Prophecy, absolutely massive. Serpentine Curve, quite a powerful build around in the format. Bookworm, just a big game-ending card. I really feel like I like Serpentine Curve the best here. This card's just absurd. It's so quickly so big. It's just for 1 mana. It's like a 1 mana game ender. Often a 1 mana 4/4 to 10/10. Very rarely is it too much worse than that if you build around it right. Do I take it over Introduction to Prophecy? Maybe? Probably? Gonna need game enders. Even if our deck is the most consistent like card draw deck in the world, we need some way to finish the game, and Serpentine Curve is a great way to do that. But you know what? I'm going to draft a little differently here and see how it works out. I'm just going to draft for full consistency and just go for the great cheap card draw over anything else real quick. So like Pop Quiz here is one of the cards that makes Introduction to Prophecy absolutely absurd, because then for 1 blue mana, you draw a card and then scry 2 and draw another card. So it's just really, really good with Introduction to Prophecy. Introduction to Annihilation is another card that makes all of your learn spells a lot better. But Snow Day is pretty great too. Tap 2 things down, draw 2 cards, discard a card for only 2. These are both great. And it's up to 2, so you can cast Snow Day even if there's no creatures on the board. I'm going to try Snow Day here. I have not played Snow Day in this format yet, but it just looks like a pretty powerful, pretty solid card. Easy Elemental Masterpiece here. This is that big common I was talking about. 2/4/4, such a huge impact. All right, we're taking another now. Ridiculous. Test of Talents is very playable here. It's like Negate, but a little better, because it can counter the Elemental Masterpiece and make sure your opponent never casts another one, because it exiles all the copies of it from their deck. That being said, we're not going to take it over the Elemental Masterpiece itself. That card is such a finisher. I like Tome Shredder the best out of all these creatures, because it scales throughout the game and gets big enough to be a real threat, because your graveyard's going to be absolutely chocked full of instants and sorceries. We have a decent draw spell of Expressive Iteration or the Negate here. I'm just going to take the Negate. Really like having the interaction. All right, now we have the Curate that wheeled for us. That's excellent. Pillar Drop Warden's a great way to recast your Elemental Masterpieces. Reject is not a good counterspell in my opinion. Creatures just do not matter nearly as much as the big spells do in this turbo draft format, so I'm not very high on it. I'm just going to take Start from scratch. So I have that flexibility in my learn spells to take that if I need it. We'll see what we have. Oh my god, we'll see what we have pack 2. And it looks like we have something really fun that might be worth it here. Jadzi, Oracle of Arcavios is ridiculous, right? 3 mana for a 5/5. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a non-land card, you can cast it by paying 1 rather than paying its mana cost. Yeah, that seems good. That seems good in a format where you're casting everything for 1 or 2 mana. Because you just keep casting instants and sorceries and then casting more off the top. Oh my god. Yeah, I'll take Jadzi here. It's the funnest card in the pack. There are other really fun cards. Solve the Equation is super good in the format. 1 mana, pick up an Elemental Masterpiece from your deck. It's great. It also is one of the best ways to potentially actually play like a Storm deck, because then if you have a few copies of Solve the Equation, you can grab your Grape Shot or your Tendrils of Agony if you manage to get one of those in the Mystical Archives. But yeah, we'll take Jadzi. That seems like a real fun game ender to try to use. And now we'll take the Explosive Welcome. This is 3 mana, so pretty expensive for the format, but it's still 5 to any target, 3 to another, and you get your mana right back. You add triple red after you cast it, so Explosive Welcome is still a really big impact card. Really ridiculous stuff there. And now we'll go ahead and take the Introduction to Annihilation over not much else. Gritting Ignis looks like it goes infinite in this format, but it actually doesn't. As cool as that would be. So Gritting Ignis is 1 mana for a 2/2, then you spend 1 mana to bring it back to your hand and get 3 mana. The problem is you have to spend 1 red to cast it and 1 red to bring it back, so you're spending 2 red to get a red and 2 colorless. So because you aren't getting 2 red back, you're getting colorless mana back. You can't go infinite with Gritting Ignis, even though its cost is reduced. So that would be really cool, but it's still just like a decent Storm enabler and not actually infinite, even with the cost reduction. So just wanted to mention that, because It is tempting because it looks like it would be really cool and really good in this format, but it's just like, okay, I'll take an enthusiastic study here. The trample isn't irrelevant all of the time because you will be attacking with your 4/4s into their 4/4s, and just having more ways to learn is always good. I definitely like bury in books in this format. Just 1 mana to cast this thing. It's good even if you're playing it on a non-token, and if you are playing it on a token, it's ridiculous. Is there anything crazy here? Not really. I think my favorite card here is going to be Frost Trickster. 2/2 flyer, tap something down, keep it tapped. I don't think I'm going to be splashing for green for the Eureka moment here. I think I'm trying to pivot into just straight blue-red to make our elemental masterpieces and Jadzi like as easy to cast as possible, because masterpiece you really want to have exactly blue-red up on turn 2. Don't really want to wait on it because it is so good if you can get it just really quick. And then same with like Jadzi, we need double blue and then 1 more. We have some mildly difficult mana costs. I'm going to take a solve the equation here. Search for elemental masterpieces. That seems good to me. It's only 1 mana to cast. Seems pretty worth it. So Pigment Storm is solid removal. Campus Guide is a free 2/1 that could get you the color of mana you need if you really need it, but most of the time you don't want to search with this because you don't want to spend your next draw step just hitting a land unless you really need it. But yeah, Campus Guide's solid, Pigment Storm is solid, but First Day of Class is a really ridiculous combo with Elemental Masterpiece. If you can do this on turn 3, play your First Day of Class and then play your Elemental Masterpiece, then all of a sudden those 4/4s are now 5/5s with haste, and you can close out a game really fast without much chance for your opponent to interact. And the other good thing about First Day of Class is this is a card you can use to learn, even if there's no creatures on the board. With Arcane Subtraction and with Enthusiastic Study, there has to be a target creature for you to cast this and learn your lesson. And that also leaves you open to them countering it with a removal spell. If you give something +2/+1 trample and they respond by killing that thing, then you don't even get to learn anymore because your spell just fizzles. So I do really like First Day of Class in this format, actually. A way to learn no matter what's going on the board state, and really good combo with Elemental Masterpiece. I think I'm going to take First Day of Class even over Pigment Storm here. And we're definitely taking Introduction to Prophecy here. As cool as it would be to have another solve the equation for our Elemental Masterpieces, I just want to make sure I've got like a full playset of these Introduction Prophecies, so I am always casting them as I learn. Card is just so good. Now we're just going to take like the only on-color playables. These are both literally a 1 mana 2/2 with a very marginally playable ability, so I guess I'll take the one that maybe storms off rather than the one that is going to do absolutely nothing. Not going to play Reject. Alright, more Grinning Ignises. I do like getting another Tome Shredder, that's pretty fine to me. So what do we have now? Thrill of Possibility is the Mystical Archives card, but Stormkiln Artist is the most exciting card to me. Any Magecraft triggers can be really ridiculous in this format. So we're going to get a lot of treasure tokens off of this, so with enough draw spells going off, we can really just draw through our whole decks super fast. That being said, it only gets +1/+0 for each treasure we have. Quandrix Pledge Mage gets +1/+1 every time we cast an instant or sorcery. That being said, Stormkiln Artist is also only 1 mana instead of 2, and it lends itself better to just casting a million things in one turn, because it gives us the mana to do so. Both of these are ridiculous. These Magecraft triggers are just super good in this format. Pledge Mage is a little harder to cast. It comes out on turn 2, and we have to have double blue in this deck. Stormkiln Artist, I think I'm going to go for the Stormkiln Artist, because it's just really easy to get on the board. Just a single red mana, bam, it's out there. And it's still really high impact. Even if it isn't like as chunky as the Pledge Mage is going to be, it's quite a threat, and it really gets us going with a lot of nonsense happening. So now we have an Arcane Subtraction, a Tome Shredder. That's about it. I mean, we could splash in another Eureka moment, or I guess there's Expressive Iteration, but a little expensive for the card draw, being 2 mana instead of 1. Kind of just like Arcane Subtraction. We have a lot of excellent lessons. We have triple Introduction to Prophecy. There's nothing for us here. Yeah, there's just literally nothing. I guess we take a Bookworm in case we do splash green, because we're not going to be missing out not having a Burrog Befuddler. I think I like another Pillar Drop Ward in here. I'm not a big fan of Expanded Anatomy. It is another free spell, another free lesson to grab, but I think I would rather just be recasting masterpieces. This is the kind of deck, if our opponent goes ahead and counters our Elemental Masterpiece with a Test of Talents and just gets them all out of our deck, all exiled, we get really sad. So here's our first letter of acceptance. Definitely not as much as I would like, but letter of acceptance is the #1 card in the whole format. Take this over literally anything else. So we'll get our 1 copy. All right, Practical Research is a really nice card for us. Draw 4, discard 2, unless we discard an instant or sorcery, then we discard 1 card. So Practical Research is huge. Such a massive draw spell. I think I'll take another Enthusiastic Study over a Frost Trickster. We'll go ahead and take a Fractal Summoning now for another big old lesson to hit. Thrill Possibility will be solid here too. It's only 1 mana, discard a card, draw 2, but I like having a big like game-ending sort of card that we can grab off of our learn spells. That way, early game we always just grab Introduction to Prophecy, and then later game maybe we just grab a Fractal Summoning and make an 8/8 or a 9/9 really easily. Because this is only 2 mana to make a 5/5 in this format, so it does not take long before that thing is absolutely massive. Again, I don't really think I want Expressive Iterations when we have like Curates for only 1, Pop Quiz for only 1. Guess we don't have a ton of card draw in here. I'm not going to play a 3rd Tome Shredder, am I? Probably not. I'll grab an iteration here, I guess. Not super pumped about it. I already have 1 start from scratch. I don't want another. I'll take the 1 mana 3/1 Ward 2. This card can close out some games. It's hard to kill, because Ward 2 matters a lot in a format where everything is really cheap. Because that actually does make it so your opponent has to spend like their whole turn killing this, where otherwise they could have just spent like 1 mana and got it off the board. And this is a flyer, and flying matters a lot too, because again, the most common creatures in the format are just 4/4 elemental tokens. They're just everywhere. I'll take a Teach by Example, but I'm probably not playing it. Can't often just sit there and wait until you have the mana to cast your spell and your Teach by Example. Sure, it happens faster in this format, but everything happens faster in this format. So yeah, I only have to wait till turn 4 to Teach by Example plus Elemental Masterpiece, but by that time it's way more likely my opponent has like a negate up, or maybe they've already done their own Elemental Masterpiece with a first day of class on it, and then they just have 5/5, so my 4/4s are irrelevant. There's a lot of ways where just waiting on stuff is not super beneficial in this format. So we get to cut a lot of cards here. 17, got like a boatload of lands. 12, 13 mana here basically. Seems more than enough to me. We're cutting all of our lessons. We cut 7 more cards. So it's probably just going to be random creatures like our Grinning Ignis and our Befuddlers and stuff. Explosive Welcome is 3 mana. Jadzi's 3 mana. Alright, so yeah, our curve is like almost exclusively 1 mana stuff. We have tons of learn spells to grab our cheap Scry 2 draw card. I think we can dig for lands off of that. I don't think we need any more mana than this. Befuddlers are just very inconsequential, as is Soothsayer Adept, Blood Age General. Frost Structure's fine, because it does fly and has impact when it enters the battlefield. We don't have any Storm combos for Ignis. Tome Shredders can get big throughout the game. Twin Scroll Shaman's fine. Alright, these are our worst cards, and we need to cut 7. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 over here. So what is the best card out of all of these? It might just be Vortex Runner, because it's a 1 mana 2/3. It's just the biggest creature out of all of them. A 1 mana 2/3 or 1 mana 1/2 double strike. Or maybe Soothsayer Adept, that way if we flood out later, we can sit there drawing discarding, but that's... I don't know, there's so few creatures in this format, and most people are going to have a good amount of like random cheap removal, like Heated Debate, to where I feel like your random stuff like Soothsayer Adept or Vortex Run, it kind of just gets out there and then draws some cheap removal spell. It just really doesn't do a lot, so I would rather have like higher immediate impact. I feel like I just want Vortex Runner. We're never going to have 8 or more lands, though, so a 1-mana 2/3 versus a 1-mana 1/3 with an ability that, sure, it's not going to come in that often, but how often do we really care that it's a 2/3 instead of a 1/3? I don't know here. I'll cut Vortex Runner. We'll keep the Soothsayer Adept in here, see if it does some stuff. But here we are with our Prismari Turbo Draft deck here. Really want to do the Jadzi thing here at some point, that Magecraft thing. That could be insane. So let's see how this deck does. So last time our one dream was to cast our Blue Sun Zenith for a lot, and we certainly did that. This time our dream is to see Jadzi go off. This is definitely keepable. Get the massive pop quiz turn 1 here. These are not really it, so I'm going to scry them away and draw a card. There's the red source, there we go. Feeling pretty good about the hand now. What's our worst card? Enthusiastic Study, because we can't learn unless we have a creature on board with that, and we have no creatures in hand. Maybe it was Heated Debate, because we already have Explosive Welcome to kill stuff anyway. Ooh! Elemental Masterpiece, don't have negate, opponent. Don't have negate. I'm once again asking my opponent not to have negate. Alright, well, divide by 0. It's not a negate. We still get to try to cast it next turn. And now if we hit a red source, we could even haste them out, potentially. Alright, that's a thing. Leyline Invocation into Expanded Anatomy, so they have a 5/5 out against my 4/4s, but Burying Books can kill that. So we Masterpiece, and then we're going to bury their 5/5. We'll go ahead and do that at their end step, just in case they have more Expanded Anatomies to play around with. Alright, Snow Day. Now we're going to have to do it when they go to combat anyway. But maybe, again, maybe they like cast something that learns and then cast another anatomy and we can 2-for-1 them that way. But that is not the case. We'll just bury that. There's a Waterfall Aerialist. Pretty annoying, but Heated Debate can't be countered, which includes ward spells, so we can just spend 1 mana and get rid of it anyway. We have the perfect answer to Waterfall Aerialist. Not to 2 of them, because we can't Explosive Welcome to kill both of them until we have an additional 4 mana up to target the both of them. So we're not going to Explosive Welcome here, but we probably will Heated Debate one of them. So I think we play Pillar Drop Warden, Mountain, Curate here. I guess we Curate first if that's the plan. I'm not going to Explosive Welcome till I can afford to actually kill something. Ooh, we could grab our own Aerialist. I like drawing both of these. We've got the mana to play around with Iteration next turn. So yeah, we'll grab Aerialist right now and Iteration as our play next turn. Play our Warden, play our Aerialist, and Heated Debate one of theirs. I guess we don't even need to, because we have a 1-5 reach and a 3-1 flyer. Our 3-1 flyer can trade into one of theirs. Our 1-5 reach makes sure they can't even attack in well, as long as it's on the board. I guess if they remove our pillar drop warden, we'll go ahead and heated debate, but if they don't, it might not matter. We might not have to. Then we can hold on to heated debate in case they try to double block one of our 4/4s or something like that. Alright, so they are going to annihilate our pillar drop warden. So it looks like heated debate will matter here to get all of their flyers off the board. So we will do that. Another leyline invocation from our opponent. We can explosive welcome now. And then do Flame Painter first day of class and just go wild. Yeah, that's lethal on the spot. Oh my god, yeah. So explosive welcome. That gives us the mana to go first day of class, Flame Painter for Flame Painter to have haste. So Flame Painter's got haste now. We're now casting stuff for free off of Flame Painter. We're also drawing Tome Shredder as the card there, which is going to be a 3/3 haste. Yeah, that was going to be absolutely absurd, but it was already lethal. So there's the concession from our opponent, because it was going to be 12 damage on board, plus casting Explosive Welcome from the grave for free off of the Flame Painter. That was a combo I did not even consider. That is absolutely wild. The first day of class into the Flame Painter to make sure it has haste, so we can surprise our opponent with it. Even if our opponent has a bunch of creatures on board, say our opponent has cast Elemental Masterpieces and stuff, if they like attack us with all of them and then we just go hasty Flame Painter, that can find some victories out of nowhere. So I'm pretty excited for that now. I don't think I can keep this. I think we need both colors, and I will keep this one. Yeah, this one seems very good. Get rid of a heated debate. I could be wrong here, but I'm getting rid of heated debate. Maybe we're supposed to get rid of the Waterfall Aerialist. So I don't want to cast our Pop Quiz until we have a Stormkiln Artist on the board, and I also don't want to just cast Stormkiln Artist and pass. That being said, now that we've drawn Masterpiece, maybe I do. Maybe I do. Yeah, I'm going to do that. This thing's probably going to die. If I didn't just draw Elemental Masterpiece, I was just going to play Waterfall Aerialist, but now I have a potential just absolutely ridiculous turn next turn. If they can't kill this. Okay, they can kill this, so I'm just going to Masterpiece by itself. But my plan was to just go Waterfall Aerialist, and then this turn I would go Stormkiln Artist, Pop Quiz, and just start going off. I guess I could still do that. Yeah. I could have still went for the wild play there. If I went for the Waterfall Aerialist first, maybe they wouldn't have the instant speed removal for the Stormkiln thing. So they're down to 2 cards in hand. We're about to have 5 million, so feeling pretty good. We have Aerialist to block their assistant, but we can also just cast Explosive Welcome, but then we're not casting anything else this turn. I don't think I want to Explosive Welcome because it keeps me from casting anything else. I think I just Practical Research into Aerialist. Discard a Subtraction, because I do well, let's discard first day of class. We don't really have anything wild to combo with it. Subtraction to stop some damage could matter. We are already down to 14. So subtraction on the Aerialist here to kill it. But now we will have the mana to just go ahead and do our explosive welcome to kill their thing and still do pop quiz and some other stuff. So I'm happy to do it this turn. So 5 there, 3 there. Play the Warden. See where we're going off our pop quiz. I prefer that over iteration. Should we just keep everything we hit? Take solve the equation. Card is good. So there's their Stormkiln artist. So here they go. Off to the races we go. Mascot Interception, they can find lethal here. That's 7 damage already. But the artist doesn't have haste. They could crack the Pillar Drop Warden here instead of trying to like kill me this turn. That looks to be the play. Grab Mascot Interception. So they can borrow my Elemental and then hit me with it? That's kind of weird to me. That just feels like a way to spend more mana to just steal my Mascot. Well, no, they kill the Pillar Drop thing permanently that way. So I guess that's true. So solve the equation. What do we have in deck? Do we have another Explosive Welcome? I don't think we do. We do not. We do have a Snow Day, which would be good. Enthusiastic Studies plus 3 power. Can we kill them with that? If they don't block, we kill them with Enthusiastic Study. So I guess it forces them to block if we solve the equation for that. Yeah, I think I'm just going to curate here. Well, now they don't know that we have Enthusiastic Study, but we still have it, so I like that. Well, if they can't cast a spell here, this can save our creature and deal next to lethal to them. But not quite. Oh yeah, start from scratch. But we don't have another red source, so it's not actually lethal, but oh wow, is it close. I forgot we had Introduction to Annihilation. If we did this pre-combat, we would have had lethal because we exiled their 1 blocker. Some definite misplays here. Could have just had the immediate lethal. I believe I've already played land for turn. So if I didn't play land for turn, we could grab that mountain and go for like a start from scratch, but start from scratch actually just puts them to 1. So the only way we find lethal there is if we had killed the Stormkiln artist before attack. So we should have gone for the Introduction to Annihilation. Explosive Welcome. Terrifying. They have another one to follow it up. Mascot Interception. That is 1 damage from lethal. They've got 1 card in hand here. We're at 1. We're at 1 life. They have 1 card in hand. If they pass to us, we hit them for 4. They're down to -2. Oh, it's a Pigment Storm! It's a Pigment Storm! So if it was still on our board, they could Pigment Storm our creature and hit us for that final 1 damage, but they couldn't do that. And Mascot Interception the same turn. They can't do the both of them together for the lethal there. Oh my god. Alright, 2-0 by the skin of our teeth there. Almost punted that one away with the lack of searching for Introduction to Annihilation to clear the board before attacks, but Still got there in the end. All right, we are on the play. We've got 2 mana turn 1 to first day of class into Tome Shredder. We'll do that. We'll do that thing then. See what we're drawing into first. Maybe there'll be something else we want to play. Ooh, Aerialist? I think I'd rather play Aerialist than Tome Shredder. Just harder to kill and harder to block. And Tome Shredder will be haste next turn anyway. Alright, well, that is 7 cards in hand and a full turn passed from our opponent, which means they're just holding up a bunch of negates and stuff. Joke's on them, I have no spells to cast. Yeah, we just cast a Tome Shredder and start shredding. We actually probably attack even, hit for 6, put them into 10, instead of getting more counters. Maybe we get more counters. Yeah, I'll go for the counters here. I'll just attack for 4 and see what they do about it. Which I assume is nothing with 1 blue mana, because they need extra mana to target the Aerialist. Yeah, I mean, Aerialist alone kinda does the thing. Alright, Tome Shredder resolves. And it is now my end step. We'll see if they cast a Curate or something. No. No spells here as we head into their turn. Blue and green from our opponent. Quandrix is the college. Springmane Servant does gain them some life. It's definitely big. Pass turn. Alright, let's start getting the counters on our Shredder. Enthusiastic Study's a fantastic draw. That makes me want to attack with both of these now. Could have even gone for the pre-combat one and kill the Servant. I really need to get better at keeping that in mind, but now I can kill it without even spending removal on it. Potentially. Depends on what's in their hand here. They're going to go ahead and counter our Enthusiastic Study. I'm pretty fine with that. We dig their counterspell out for just a Enthusiastic Study. I could bury their Servant as well to keep Tome Shredder on the board. But I think I would rather hold on to the bury to potentially get rid of a flyer, although they know about it now. Yeah, plus when they recast this, they gain some life again. I'm just going to let the trade happen here. I'm probably cracking our Letter of Acceptance in the end step here. I should have played a blue source. Just grab the closest land. Introduction to Annihilation. Well, we do draw a card off of that. Or we put our Aerialist back into our deck. I'd rather just draw the card here. We're sort of time walking ourselves to do that. And spending a removal spell. Alright, so Iteration's a good draw. Is Iteration to the point where I don't want to crack the letter now? I feel like it is. Because we need to make sure we have the mana up to cast whatever we hit off of Iteration. It's a lot easier to do when we have a mana rock that adds a mana of any color. So I think we're waiting to crack our letter for a little bit longer now. Your opponent goes ahead and pop quizzes, discard a card, draw a card there. Okay, so we will go ahead and iterate and see what we've got. We're just going to cast all of this right now, so it doesn't matter. We can cast Masterpiece and Tome Shredder, so we'll get rid of the land. So we put Masterpiece to hand, Mountain back in the library, Tome Shredder exiled, and then we just go Masterpiece, Tome Shredder, make sure we get some impact of this Tome Shredder immediately, and hit for 2. So they're at 8 life, but they have 5 cards in hand. They're facing down 2 4/4s and a 2/2 with nothing on board. But 5 cards in hand could be enough to find the blockers to shut down my board state and then potentially play some card draw of their own or something to take over this game. So far they've cast an Honor Troll, which is just a 2/3 Vigilance. It does add 1 to any life gain they have. So Tome Shredder's not getting in anymore, but our 4/4s are still absolutely getting in. We have a Bury in Books, and they know about it. So we are going to bury whatever their best blocker is. Serpentine Curve, we're definitely going to bury that then, because that will permanently die. They'll never get it back. Let's go ahead and draw a card first here. See what we're getting. Explosive Welcome. Well, I am glad I did that, because now we kill both blockers and win on the spot if they don't have negate here. If they do have negate, they would have negated Bury anyway. But this way, by cracking letter, we have immediate lethal if they don't have negate. If they do, we still get to attack with our 4/4s and then make Tome Shredder a 3/3 here. Okay, so that is not a negate, but we'll leave them with a 4/4 now, which means we attack with both 4/4s, we hit them for 4 and we lose 1. They're down to 2 cards in hand. That seems worth it to me, especially at 20 life. If we were at a lower life total, maybe not, but I think this is worth it. Put them to 4. Tome Shredder is going to be a 3/3 now. We still have our Bury in Books. Cogwork Archivist, a 4/5 reach blocker. 2 mana up and 2 cards in hand. Do they have anything else? Kian, Dean of Substance, just a 2/2 blocker right now. If they have enough mana, they can start putting out fractals, but they do not. She can also start drawing cards for them, but they're going to pretty much have to chump block with her, I believe. Yeah, I mean, they're 100% going to have to. And Pop Quiz, I think, is lethal here, because Pop Quiz finds us Introduction to Annihilation. So then we just bury Kian and annihilate the Archivist. Attack for 7. And that is game. I believe we are now 3-0 as we head into round 4. Could be a little off on the numbers there, but I think we haven't dropped a game yet, which is really nice. Yep, we're 3-0. Haven't gotten to play our Jadzi yet, which is a little sad, but other than that, the deck is doing a lot of good stuff for us. Right, so we are on the play here. A pretty keepable hand. We have first day of class into Flame Painter. Turn 2 if I hit another red source. I feel like I'm probably supposed to just first day of class right now, though, Because it's the only way that I guaranteed learn right now. It's my only way to like scry 2 draw a card here. It's just sad. Maybe I just play Flame Painter and just see what they do about it. You know what? What are you going to do about it? If they don't kill it immediately, if they just play a tapped land, then we just win. Because we just Enthusiastic Study. I guess that's not lethal, but I mean, it's not good for our opponent. It's definitely not lethal now that they have a 0-4 out as well. So yeah, it's not lethal, but it's not good for them. Oh, now they have a 4-4 instead of a 0-4. And a 3-1 flyer. So now that they're tapped out, oh yeah, Enthusiastic Study is just the stone cold nuts here. Oh, it would be so fun to Elemental Masterpiece off of Flame Painter. Which I guess we could do if we study and then if we discard the Masterpiece to get a treasure token and then we cast Enthusiastic Study. Just see what they block here. If they don't block, this is going to be wild. Okay, they do block. It's still wild if they do block. It's still really good, right? Yeah, we can do both of these still. So let's get a treasure token. Use that token to buff Flame Painter. Flame Painter now wins this combat and then deals 4 damage to them, at which point I recast Elemental Masterpiece from my grave for free. Yeah, I would say this was a pretty good turn. Now we pick up a Heated Debate to kill that Aerialist for just 1. I don't even really want the Tome Shredder. All right. Well, Flame Painter did the Flame Painter things. Good lord. Turn 1 Flame Painter is not something that Wizards designed around. Resculpt to make that a 4-4. We've got Jadzi now coming up, potentially. Let's just kill their 4-4. And then we just like get in and cast a million things. Get the extra damage here, I guess. They're down to 3 now. If we hit a land, things are going to be super nice. We do hit a land, but it's not a red one. I guess I can hold up a negate here and just make sure I win. Yeah. If we hold up a negate here, I don't think there's anything that can go wrong. They're at 3 life. Our board state's pretty bonkers. I've learned my lesson from the last draft. I'm going to start holding up negate. Crack the letter of acceptance. And that will end the game there. There's the concession from our opponent. Lethal on board. I'm assuming just lands in hand there. Yeah, that game was really just Elemental Masterpiece absolutely going off. Or Efreet Flame Painter absolutely going off in conjunction with Elemental Masterpiece. That was a wild combo where we get to discard the Masterpiece to get the treasure to play the Enthusiastic Study, so that then we get to recast the Elemental Masterpiece. Really nice stuff, and we're heading into round 5, 4-0. We're on the play here, and the man is a big concern. Man is a big concern. We have to draw land to do anything with this hand. So I think we have to mulligan it. And now we're going to keep. We can just turn 1 Elemental Masterpiece before they have counter magic up. And we have 3 mana still, even after the mulligan down. And then we can turn 2 Elemental Masterpiece off the back of a Solve the Equation. If they don't have negate turn 2, or sorry, turn 1 even, then it's kind of just over. Yeah. I think it's highly unlikely our opponent can come back from turn 1 Elemental Masterpiece, turn 2 Elemental Masterpiece. Probably the literal, like, best turn 1, turn 2 in the format. I guess the absolute best turn 1, turn 2 would be if we could turn 2 our first day of class into Elemental Masterpiece, then just haste those ones out and they just immediately die. But it's certainly not looking great. And I guess this format is so ridiculous, especially with the mystical archives involved, that there's almost definitely, with Letter of Acceptances being free, there's almost definitely a turn 1 where you can just storm your opponent out with Tendrils of Agony. So, definitely the best turn 1, turn 2 our deck has. Or one of the best. Alright, well, they've got a lot of blockers, but Snow Day can shut that right down. Actually, the most nuts hand in the world. And they're already dead on board, but just play a Tome Shredder in case. I don't think there's 0 mana instants. I think all the colorless spells are sorceries. Alright, so that one was just an absolutely insane start from us, and that leaves us to 5-0 off of turn 1, turn 2 Elemental Masterpiece. Really dumb game of Magic there. Now we are in round 6 of the Strixhaven Turbo Draft. Turn 1 Tome Shredder, we do have Explosive Welcome turn 3. This hand really doesn't have that much gas, though. It's just Explosive Welcome, really. So I think I'm going to mulligan this one. This hand certainly has gas. Stormkiln Artist can do some things. We only need 1 mana to get to Jadzi, which Stormkiln Artist can certainly help us get there. Alright, we're probably up for some Divine Justice this game, because... Never mind. I was going to say, because Flame Painter probably just demolishes our soul. But now we have 2 mana turn 1, which means we can Artist and Curate here. They have a negate up here. 1 blue mana. If we hit a learn spell, then we go off. Yeah, if we hit a learn spell, we go off immediately. So I think we definitely mill these. They're not important at all. We do hit a learn spell. Subtract their Flame Painter. And then we get a treasure token. Then we get a free spell. Which means we'll have 2 treasure tokens after this. So if we get, I guess if we get another learn spell, we go off. Neither of these are that, but they're both great. Wow, I think we draw Frost Trickster and play it safe against their Flame Painter, and then we're just going to play our own Flame Painter next turn. Yeah. So not immediately going off into the... Oh, we could cast this. What is this? Put any number of land cards from your hand on the battlefield. Oh, that's it? Yeah, no, we're definitely not doing that. All right. Frost Trickster it is. Shut off that Flame Painter. Okay. So that was pretty good. It wasn't the absolute nuts that I was imagining, where we could have hit another 1 mana spell to learn, and that would have given us, it would have cost us 1 treasure token and given us 2 back, at which case we would have had the mana to then immediately Explosive Welcome and get rid of their Flame Painter. And then we're just super safe. But then I saw if we were drawing a Frost Trickster, so like we get to temporarily deal with the Flame Painter anyway, we'll be okay. And even if they deal with our Stormkiln Artist, we get to put a Jadzi and a Flame Painter out pretty soon, which are also going to be must-kill threats. So Lorehold Command from our opponent, really, really good card. They're going to go ahead and kill our Stormkiln Artist and get a 3/2. And they've got a Biblioplex Assistant to put the Lorehold Command back into their library. Yeah, that's bonkers. Lorehold Command is, I think, the best command in the format, but part of that is because of how cheap it is. So, I mean, it's still going to be wild in Turbo Draft, but it's not like a Dreadfeast Demon level layer of ridiculousness. So, we're not going to have any treasure tokens here popping out. Could still Explosive Welcome and play Flame Painter, but we can't Jadzi and do that. Jadzi is a 5/5, and Lorehold Command only does 3 damage, so we could just play Jadzi and hope to Explosive Welcome go off next turn. Use Jadzi's Magecraft ability to do ridiculous things. Or we could just play them both, and it's like, alright, figure it out. You figure it out, you deal with it. Actually pretty cool for that. Let's just be like, alright, you figure it out. You deal with it. Do what you're gonna do. The only thing Lorehold Command can kill is our 2/2 flyer. Which is definitely less relevant than these two creatures here. What is the discard ability? Discard a card, return Jadzi to hand. It's not relevant right now, but that is pretty ridiculous. If we draw Jadzi later in the game and just discard a land. Okay, I'm definitely not discarding a card right now for Jadzi. We'll just redraw them. So double Lorehold Command is going to be a very bad time for us here. If they have a way to move our Flame Painter to triple Lorehold Command, that could very well close out this game. Oh no, the +1/+0 indestructible means if we want to stop their Flame Painter from going off, then we just lose our Flame Painter on a chump block. And we kind of have to do that because the other option is to just let them bury our Flame Painter and Lorehold Command us to the face again, so there's no way we can't block this. So we are just straight up on Explosive Welcome here, and we let their Fractal Summoning go off. So do 5 to that, 3 to the flyer, take 3. Then we're going to play a 5/5 to block their 3/2, but we have to take the Fractal Summoning damage. This is looking bad. We're going to have to get an instant or sorcery off, solve the equation. We can't just slam Jadzi out next turn. Because they Fractal Summoning for a 7/7 already. So we have to grab like a Burying Books here off solve the equation to kill that. We can't grab a Snow Day. We can't grab a Snow Day because we don't have double blue afterwards. We can't just play Jadzi because we can't afford to take 7 and block that. So we need something we can cast for just a blue and a red. So we can grab Burying Books, we can grab Elemental Masterpiece. That's pretty much it. Burying Books or Elemental Masterpiece. Burying Books definitely kills that, but Elemental Masterpiece, we could double block the 7/7, lose 1 4/4, and still have a 4/4 round to deal with the 3/2. So if they don't draw interaction, Masterpiece is better, but Burying Books plays around interaction more. They have 1 card in hand plus a letter to draw. They've already played Burying Books and Lorehold Command. They're probably an interaction-heavy deck. I'm gonna grab Burying Books, I think. I could be wrong on this play. And I'm just gonna do it before they could have negate or anything. It feels safer to me. Because if I Elemental Masterpiece and then I double block and they like Enthusiastic Study or something, they just get there. Or I guess not quite with Enthusiastic Study, but if they cast another Burying Books, like then I lose both of my 4/4s and they still have the 7/7 and the 3/2. Fortunately, they hit another Elemental Masterpiece, so now we can Snow Day. Stop them from 2 attacks here, but we take 3 because we can't play both of these. Yeah, we wait till their turn so it actually does shut off these attackers twice. They have the negate now, it's over. Okay. We take 3, we're down to 4. Okay, Enthusiastic Studies game, probably. No, they just discard a card, draw a card. I was gonna say, if they have a start from scratch in the sideboard, that's just game. Alright, so we get to play Jadzi and hold up a negate. That's something. Block their 3/2 and then counter their next Enthusiastic Study. But we have to draw into like Elemental Masterpiece. Enthusiastic Study is not going to do it. So reveal the top card of the library. If it's non-land, you may cast it. If it's a land, put it onto the battlefield. Wait, do I still cast it? Because I get the cost reduction, so it's actually just free off Jadzi? Oh, I do. It's still... Oh my god. I do! Oh my god, Jadzi's makes them free, so I just get that, and then I get the Tome Shredder? And now we're gonna... Oh my god, Jadzi's gonna go off. Oh my god, can we get out of this one? Just off the back of Jadzi? Oh my god, we can? Because we're gonna cast so many things. Alright, land into play, bam, another free spell. Bam. Scry 2, draw a card. Cast that for free. Oh my good gravy. Get these lands out of the way. They're not spells. Draw a card. Cast the top for free? No. Introduction to Prophecy. First day of class. Cast it free. Elemental Masterpiece. I'll cast that for free. Yeah, you bet. First day of class triggers. Get 2 counters, give them haste. Introduction to Annihilation. Sure, we'll get that in hand. Scry will put Heated Debate on top to where it gets cast for free. And draw the island, I guess. And then we annihilate a 4/4 here. No, I should annihilate their blocker. Oh wait, no, because Heated Debate's going to kill the blocker. What am I on about? Is this lethal? Oh my god, yeah, it is. I don't know if it's lethal yet. This is definitely lethal when I pick up a Masterpiece, right? This is just straight up definitely lethal when I do this. Oh my good gravy. Oh, we draw another Masterpiece. What the heck is going on? Oh my god. So Jadzi's pick one, pack one, I would say. That's a card. Oh my god. That's a thing to do in a Strixhaven turbo draft. Let's go, Jadzi. I'm still stunned. I'm just in disbelief right now. That was absolute insanity, and that takes us to 6-0 as we head into what could be the final round here. Win or lose, we've got more chances at victory after this, but if we win, that's a 7-0 and the 6th Decathlon token for 2 entries into the Arena Cube Draft Finals. Oh my goodness. I'm definitely going to keep this with the pop quiz. Pop quiz turn 1's always so good in the format. But maybe even just playing Aerialist first is better, so we know we're getting some damage in, but I feel like with how high impact some of the potential plays are, it's better to be digging through your deck and potentially setting up like a turn 2 Elemental Masterpiece or something instead. So I'm just going to pop quiz. We do hit the red source, which is certainly nice. Practical Research is great. Tome Shredder's okay. Probably better than another land. We have 3 already. Yeah, I'll keep it. I'll keep it all. So our opponent starts with a Plains here, and they have 7 more cards in hand to play around with. Combat Professor, turn 1, pretty nice. Pretty nice card there. I think I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have some blockers, rather than dump out a Practical Research, because we'll be spending all our mana and then not even playing whatever we draw anyway. So just go Aerialist Warden here. And we're all ready to block that Combat Professor for days. And ready to do some pretty wild things next turn with our massive card draw. So black and white from our opponent. Leonin Lightscribe is going to be threatening in this format, and Crushing Disappointment, probably the best black card in the format. 1 mana to draw 2. Very good deal. On a free Wandering Archaic, 0 mana 4/4, and now whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, unless we pay 2, they get to cast 1 as well. And now Biblioplex Assistant to throw Crushing Disappointment back on top of their deck. I would be surprised if we can find a victory out of this one. Wandering Archaic seems like... this seems so good in this format. This might even be better than Letter of Acceptance. A 0 mana 4/4. When we cast anything, they get it unless we pay 2 additional mana, which is just never going to happen until like turn 5, 6, which is incredibly late in this format. Yeah, no. I mean, the Sport alongside it, this is a very good deck from our opponent, but the Archaic, I think, alone kind of closes this game. But alongside all this stuff, I mean, I don't know what we can even do here. We can't Masterpiece because then they just Masterpiece. We can't Research or they just Research, so we can play 1 Tome Shredder, and then we can't Curate because we've played a Tome Shredder. We don't have the 2 mana to stop them from curating as well. They're about to draw 2 with Crushing Disappointment anyway. This is insane. I mean, we got to dig for some possible way out of this one. So I guess we're just curating Jadzi? But then our opponent... oh my god. All right, well... if we're going to lose this one, let's lose in style. Okay? Let's lose in style. We're going to cast a Jadzi, and we're just going to see what happens if I just play through my whole deck and let our opponent play through my whole deck as well. We just both cast every instant sorcery in my entire deck. I mean... no, with Jadzi drawn here, now we have outs. Like, now we're trying to hit Heated Debate. It's like, if we can kill Wandering Archaic and then get Jadzi on the board, we've got a shot. They actually probably just find lethal here, because Light Scribe as well. Oh my god, yeah, Light Scribe, the whole field gets +1/+1. So that's also just a way to really quickly find lethal. Good lord, another Biblioplex Assistant. All of the 0 mana flyers here. Ooh. What a deck from our final opponent here. Well, probably not our final opponent. I don't think we're winning this game. But final boss round 1 here has a very good deck. We have to jump, right? Yeah, it's way more than lethal. And we're dead. We're just dead. That's the most damage I can stop, and that's Exactsies. Wow. Yeah, Leonin Light Scribe as well. I was so shocked by the Wandering Archaic that I didn't even register the Leonin Light Scribe is also just absolutely bonkers in this format. Especially with a bunch of 0 mana 2/1s. They've got all the 0 mana 2/1 flyers in deck. Good lord. Well, I hope that opponent went 7-0 there, because that deck certainly earned it there. Good god. I don't know if there's anything in the format that can beat that start. Unless you get like the really lucky Tendrils of Agony just turn 1. Or whatever, but most decks, I don't think there's any rebuttal to that. All right, here we are with probably the most common quote-unquote unbeatable turn 1, which is just turn 1 Masterpiece off Letter of Acceptance. So, see how it does for us. I'm going to play the island here, so I'm just all ready to Snow Day if I wish. I could wait a turn to first day of class and then Masterpiece, but I think it's worth it to just play it right now. It's 2 less damage. Like, I'm attacking with them next turn either way. And this way I play around a negate from our opponent. So opponent just plays a Grinning Ignis. We get to play Jadzi. All right. And if they try to kill that, we can just discard our Frost Trickster, I guess. Explosive Welcome. Discard the Frost Trickster. Practical Research from our opponent. If we hit a land, we have lethal, because first day of class. Okay, not anymore, because they do still have Grinning Ignis. Do we haste out Jadzi, or do we play Jadzi then first day of class? We play Jadzi and then first day of class. Wait, no. We haste out Jadzi, because we can first day of class for our removal. Yeah, we just have lethal. Because we have the free removal. And Jadzi might still go off casting a 0 mana sorcery. Not that it matters, but that is gonna be game. So 7-1 it is, only dropping 1 game to that really nice Silver Quill deck that we saw there last round. We kind of just ran it back with, I would say, probably just as ridiculous of a start as our opponent had against us there. I don't think there's much our opponent could have done in round 7. That was a bonkers start. Turn 1 Masterpiece into turn 3 Jadzi. And then they even had the removal for Jadzi, but Jadzi just has a built-in way to protect herself. So that'll get there. 7-1 in the second Strixhaven Turbo Draft event. So that is going to end today's video. I had a pretty great time with these Decathlon events as a whole, and that Turbo Draft. I did not collect all of the tokens because I did take some time off of the YouTube channel because I had a really busy holiday season at work around Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I think I worked 14 hours on Christmas Eve. It was not a fun time, but I did get to spend some time with my family as well, which meant no real time for the Decathlon events. Plus, I pretty much only missed all the constructed ones, and I wasn't super into them anyway, so I don't think that I'm going to be playing Decathlon Event 9 for the traditional standard, because we already have 6 Decathlon tokens, which means 2 entries into the finals, and a 7th Decathlon token does not change that at all. So don't think I'm going to be playing the just standard event here, but I will definitely be playing the Arena Cube drafts starting on January 6th. I'll be playing in the Decathlon finals on January 8th, and whatever other fun formats crop up on Arena in the meantime. At the end of January, we have Innistrad double feature, which is Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt together. And then, of course, in February, we have the new Kamigawa Neon Dynasty set that I'm very excited about. So tons of limited stuff coming in the near future. Until then, I hope you all enjoy your holidays as I have myself. I believe this video is going to be going up New Year's, probably January 1st, so that'll be pretty cool. But yeah, I hope you all have a good time. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.